What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. So I believe this is the structure deck called Power Code Link, and we were supposed to be getting Droll Lock Bird in it should we have mirrored the OCG structure deck. And it's been a very long time since we've had a deviation, a major deviation in our structure deck from Japan. And here it is, just one of the most expensive cards taken straight out of the structure deck. So I'm gonna have two notes here, and don't worry, I'm not gonna take the whole CMO and do 10 minutes on one card. We have two other pieces of news to get to in this video. But with Droll Lock Bird here, in my opinion, they did a really good job taking this out if they are going to touch it on the Forbidden and Limited list and take it completely out of the game. If they're not gonna do that, this is a pretty atrocious move that we haven't seen realistically since way back. If we look at Dino Masher's Fury, that's one of the times that we got Max C in a structure deck finally, but before it was supposed to be in the Blue Eye structure deck, I believe that had Silver's Cry, and we just straight up didn't get it. Everybody was just looking around like, why didn't we get this? And of course, there was no ban list implication there. They just straight up didn't put it in, and then finally later put it in a structure deck finally. My opinion on Droll Lock Bird here, and this is a Spanish picture of the structure deck, by the way, if you were just wondering where the sauce was for it not being in there. My opinion with Droll Lock Bird here, it completely stops most decks from playing the game, unlike Max C, where if you could push through, you pushed through. Droll Lock Bird, however, stops you from resourcing the deck entirely, and very few decks can continue to try to play through that. We actually saw a Pendulum deck, I believe, at the WCQ be able to actually do that, but most decks, with their 6 cards or 5 cards given early on, once they've only resourced 1 card out of the deck and they're drolled, can't really continue to make and build their board properly with the resources in hand given, or give a very heavy push and get shut down by something like another hand trap or a negate on board. It makes it really hard to deal with the hand you've been dealt, since everything resourcing out your deck is what realistically gives you the chance to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Maxi, like I said, currently on our ban list, you could play through, and it feels very similar, right? If I have Droll Lock Bird and you don't, it's highly likely that I'm going to shut you down, especially if you went first and you're starting with just 5 cards and still attempting to build your board. You're not going to build it properly, and Maxi kind of feels that way too. Like, if you were going first, you can at least stop down where you want to, try to put a negate on board, or try to put something that's going to do something, such as, I guess, a trap in 2K18. So I see why Konami, USA, and Japan do deviate on Maxi. I personally agree with the mentality of 0 or 3 of this card. I don't know where Droll Lock Bird's going to end up with that, though. Droll Lock Bird, very, very, very powerful. I hope that this is Konami maybe about to do something about it, rather than just, hey, yeah, we're going to take one of the most expensive cards out. Doesn't need another reprint. Here's another Foolish Burial Goods for you, though. Up next is a look at the special editions for Cybernetic Horizon. We get 2 actually very exciting cards for the preview cards that people were looking forward to out of Soul Fusion, along with Hope Harbinger, Titanic Galaxy, and Spiral Super Agent, which were kind of odd reprints, right? I think when this was announced, though, Super Agent was something like $17. It was a little more exciting. And Hope Harbinger, of course, having a huge price tag as one of the unprinted cards that Blue Eyes decks tend to play. A really great rank 8 that was only available in 1 product, so now we have another version of it available along with its premium gold version, which doesn't look so bad in my opinion for a P gold card. But here, in case you didn't know what these cards are, External Galaxy. If you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, target an Xyz monster you control, and special summon from your extra deck a Photon or Galaxy Xyz monster that is 4 ranks higher than the target by using that target as a material. This is treated as an Xyz summon, transfer the materials. You can only activate this once per turn. So basically, this allows you to Xyz on your opponent's turn and do something relatively giant from something small that you might have been using to resource out cards. I actually really like this card in terms of, like, how it's built, but Necrofusion similarly allows you to fusion summon during your opponent's turn. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing a fusion material from your graveyard face down. Isn't it fusion materials? By banishing fusion material, yeah, plural. Fusion materials from your graveyard face down. That monster cannot attack this turn, but since it's a trap card, you would usually be doing this either preemptively to put something out that is going to block them. There are some really good fusion monsters, if you remember. I believe it's like the First of the Dragons or something. Whatever that card's name is. Like, it actually couldn't be dealt with by zoo players at first with, like, Trident and stuff. You couldn't pop it. But, it's funny that we do get a fusion during their turn, and that it allows you to resource your graveyard materials instead of having to pitch from hand. But it's exclusively graveyard, so do set it up. I think the mentality kind of is that you were going to fusion summon and leave the materials in the grave and then do it again. It's kind of cool though. I really like this card, so it's cool that we get a preview version of it, and it'll be holofoil and easy to get in the core set. And our other piece of news here, oops, didn't actually pull it up for you guys. Highly amazing edited content here, boys. The 200th Championship game mats and new prize card is here. I'm personally a big fan of this playmat. I think it looks really amazing. I'm a huge fan of Goldsark, and it's kind of funny as we actually head towards Goldsark perhaps being played back in the game that this appears on a playmat. It pays homage to actually a prize card I managed to win, but it's a one-card Thunder Dragon fusion in the future for a combo, so I think duelists will actually, you know, enjoy this playmat during that era that deck sees play in. The return of stun decks has me somewhat excited. And then we actually have the Top Cut, or no, this is not Top Cut playmat. I think this is a Winamat, my bad. With all the main protagonist duelists coming out of their hexagons all together. Oh man, Yugi's and Yusei's hairs are too wild, and Yuya's to be kept by just a hexagon, though. They protrude into the other spaces. But outside the sample, like you see the sample stuff covering the background, I like how this looks as well. And, I don't know, not the biggest fan of this playmat because of how the logo's put. I feel like it could have been put smaller somewhere, but I get that in the top cut, you're always going to need the shield. And it will definitely look different on the regular YCS. So this is going to be a special, I believe, one-time mat. This is sort of like the Blood Mephis mat before, and the future mats with this card will look somewhat different. But this is our new prize card, just in case you guys didn't know. And I think Konami selected a really good card, one that's not necessarily going to be high impacting, but one that can be played competitively at the same time. It's somewhat like Minerva, but not as necessarily useful as Minerva. So where its price as a prize card ends up, I don't know. It's definitely more useful than Diabolos, our current prize card, but let's read it. Level 8, Dark Dragon Pendulum Effect Monster, attack 3000, defense 2500. By far, one of the best retrains. We recently had the Red Eyes Darkness Metal retrain, the Trishula retrain. I think this is the best one out of all of them. Dark Arm Dragon and Judgment Dragon in this. Attack 3000, defense 2500. Pendulum scale is 1, making Pendulum summons very nice with it. And it is actually searchable from its stats by Melody of Awakening Dragon. You can pay 1,000 life points, then target one of your banished dragon monsters, destroy this card, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. You can only use this effect of Chaos Emperor Dragon Armageddon once per turn. So, definitely not the worst. It's a resource tool, and once destroyed, it will put itself in its extra deck to be Pendulum summoned, except cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand or extra deck by banishing a light or dark monster from your graveyard. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. So, actually, you're able to, instead of having to Pendulum summon it, bring it back out from the extra deck by banishing a light and dark monster, paying homage to the original Chaos Emperor Dragon. Once per turn, you can pay half your life points, send as many cards you control as possible to the graveyard, except from the extra monster zone. And if you do, send cards your opponent controls to the graveyard up to the number of cards you sent to the graveyard this turn. Inflict 300 damage for each card sent to the graveyard by this effect. If this face-up special summon card leaves the field, return it to the bottom of the deck. So you have to spend your own resources in order to hit them with this effect. effectively, let's put it that way. But I think this is a really great card overall to be put in this place. It's one that wasn't going to immediately see itself put in tons of meta decks, but it reminds me of Minerva in that certain Pendulum decks can play it in a great way, and Pendulums right now even are still doing really well. Pendulums are taking, and I'm wondering how that's going to get hit on the FNL list if Konami really took note, since it did so well this season. How are Pendulums going to be hit if they need to be hit? But we see a Pendulum prize card on the horizon, and we'll see if somebody can break it in once they get a hold, and if that actually will become a problem. Really good card to put it in as a prize card, though. The nostalgia comes through, the playability comes through, and I think this is a really good choice. The most Minerva ever hit for the Supers was 1,200, and I think the Ultras 2,000/2,200 maybe was the max I think I saw one sell for. So it'll be interesting to see what this goes for comparatively to Minerva, a card that actually had decks topping with Minerva Sworn. And I call it Minerva Sworn rather than Light Sworn because Minerva was the focal point of the deck. Not many Light Sworn decks without Minerva topped while it was a prize card. So it was very crucial, and it actually was played and topped YCSs. So I wonder how this price will stack up versus Minerva's old price. But there's a new prize card. There's some new special edition cards. And what do you guys think of Droll Lock Bird missing? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think it's going to be FNL listed, ban listed as it were? Or do you think it's just Konami being Konami once again, like they have been in the past, and literally plucking value out of a structure deck? Time will tell the story. I'm either going to applaud them or boo, why you doing this to them?